those who go beyond the boundaries of their obligation, as did Avraham Avinu, Hashem also treats them beyond the boundaries of the law. Hashem does not exact from them the full extent of his justice, even in the correct way. He treats them even better than that, as they themselves behave. This is kindness to Avram. HaKadosh Baruch Hu acts with benevolence towards those who are like Avram in their behavior. So too should one act. He should be righteous, correct, and just in his dealings with all people, but he should go beyond the boundaries of the law with those who are good and pious. If he is slightly patient with other people, with these he should be much more so. He should have mercy on them and go beyond the dictates of justice with which he acts towards others. These people should be very, very esteemed and beloved to him and be among his companions. And page 170, definition of the attribute. When we act with special kindness and consideration towards those whom we know to be especially kind and giving, and treat them with greater mercy, patience, and forgiveness than we would treat regular people, we awaken Hashem's merciful attribute of kindness to Abraham, bringing that element of mercy into the world. So again, this is something very interesting that we haven't had before. Over here, we're presented with two polar types of people. The first one are Yaakov people that are very straight, and here we're talking about glitter people. People that do above and beyond the letter of the law. It's also referring to not only people that live their life like that, but even people that are like that occasionally, that find it within themselves to go above and beyond. And what the Ramak is telling us is that Hashem takes that act that you have done, where you have gone above and beyond, and he reacts in kind. And I want to share this story with you. A few years ago, we were making Sefer brachas for a family member, and a woman who was attending the Sefer brachas approached me. She called me and she said, "Hi Shevi, I hear that you're making Sefer brachas. I have an interesting request. It's okay if you don't mind. So I really, really want to take the family to Eretz Yisrael for Sukkot, and we're trying to accumulate our points. Would it be okay if you put the entire expense on my credit card? And I know they're going to charge you extra if it's on a credit card. I would rather pay the extra because it's worth it for me, because it's going to be a very large expense. And I want you to put everything associated with it. If you're ordering dentures, put that on. Whatever it is, if you're giving something out, if you're ordering flowers, can you put everything on my credit card because I want to get the points?" So I said, "Yeah, I totally don't see that it should be a problem. Let me just ask the others and I'll get back to you." And I got back to her and I said, "Yeah, totally not a problem." So she says, "Oh, great. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it." So we made a very beautiful Sefer brachas. And so the rule in our house, the way we work it is whoever is taking care of things is also not in charge of the money. You can't be in charge of two major things, right? Mm-hmm. You're in charge of collecting the money and I'll be in charge of ordering and whatever. Fine. So the money all got collected and they gave it to me to give to this person. I'm going to call her Chaya. That wasn't her name. So I have the money set for her. It was a few $1,000 with a substantial amount of money, all cash, all set for her. And I'm carrying it around with me because I want to head to her house to give her the money. I'm on the street. Hi, welcome. And who do I bump into? I bump into Chaya, and I'm with two of my sisters. So I'm like, "Oh my gosh, hi Chaya." She says, "Oh, I heard the Sefer brachas was beautiful." I said, "I'm so happy that I met you because I actually have the envelope with me." So she says, "Oh, great." So I hand her the envelope, and I'm like, "Enjoy your trip. Have a wonderful trip. I'm glad this really worked out." Okay. About 2 weeks later, I get a phone call, and it's Chaya on the phone, and she says, "Hi, Shevi. So I'm just checking in because I don't want you to forget about our little arrangement that we had, because I got my credit card bill in the mail. And do you want me to pass your house, or did you want to pass my house? When did you want to come to give me the cash for it?" So I said, let me call you back. So the first thing I did was I called my two sisters because I thought that maybe I was losing it. Maybe I was hallucinating. Right? So I called my two sisters quickly and I just said, "Just checking in. Did we meet?" Yeah. I gave the cash? Yeah. Okay. And I didn't say anything after that. Okay. I had heard through the grapevine that they were going through tremendous financial difficulties. I had heard through the grapevine that her husband, who'd been in the same job for I don't know how many years, had been laid off. I heard through the grapevine that at one point they were even considering selling their house because they were
After
really.
you gave her the money. After you gave her the money.
I'm saying I heard that she was in a bad. They were in a very, very difficult financial predicament. Now, at the time, I had a little business, a little side business going on. What happened? My father's in the import-export business, and he had some factories in China. And one of his people mentioned that he does wigs for a brand name company, one of the big companies. And my father, Baruch Hashem, a very, very huge Baal Chesed and Baal Tzedakah, and he says, you know what? I feel like let's do a Chesed to the community. I'm going to import the wigs. We're going to sell it for, I want to be able to cover my cost or whatever. We'll sell the wigs for $500 a piece. And let's do that. And I said, okay. And I happened to have told one or two people, and it went like wildfire. They were very good wigs. They were very quality wigs. And I think once a week, Sundays maybe, like I opened my house and whoever wanted to could come, and they were able to take it home and wash it and whatever. And then, so, and also for me helping him out with this, then he gave me, a small percentage, whatever I made, let's say some money on each wig. And we sold a lot of wigs. I mean, he brought in a shipment, so we had a lot of wigs, and we sold an enormous amount of wigs. And knowing this information about Chaya, how she was struggling so much, I decided that I'm not going to say anything. And even though I had two Eidim, and even though if I asked a Shaila, I'm sure that I would not have to pay her back. But I assumed, and I said to myself, this is probably the greatest way that I could do tzedakah. Somebody who's really struggling. And we're talking about a substantial amount of money, right? A few $1,000s. So, and I said, I'll take it out of my, little percentage that I had been accumulating to buy myself a Valentino bag. But that's fine. That's like another story altogether. Okay. So I go downstairs to the basement, and in my basement I have one of these drop ceilings. It's like squares, right? And I step on a step ladder, and then I push away one of the squares, and I put my hand there to get my envelope, my money that I usually, and instead I come down, I'm like, whoa, this is dusty. But there's actually no envelope there. So I'm like, this is the square. Wait, they all look the same. So I start pushing away other squares and sticking my hand in all the squares, and all I get is more dust. So I take a taller ladder, and I climb onto the ladder, and I take my phone, and I open the flashlight, and there is nothing up there.
Oh no.
My envelope, with my manila envelope that had thousands of dollars, was gone. And I was like, this is not even my money. Like, I have to give oh my gosh. And the first thought that I thought was, cleaning lady? My cleaning lady was home. She was upstairs. She kept her bag downstairs in the laundry room. So I went to the laundry room, closed the door behind me, locked the door, opened her bag, and there it was. That day, she had decided to take the envelope. She must have. Now, you wish that she was one of these cleaning ladies. That's ridiculous, and even cleans the ceilings. No, she must have come in one day, noticed that I hadn't put it back perfectly, got curious, and climbed up there and saw this.
Got your money back because of the chesed that you were going to do.
How I got the money back, the entire huge amount, because I wanted to help this person. What am I trying to say? What this midah is, Hashem is saying, I have endless. I can give, I can do, I want to give, and I want to do. You gotta earn it. What are you doing that is so above and beyond? You have to earn it. It's here, it's waiting. In that first lesson we said, when we open up a faucet, depends how much we open it, that's how much water comes out. But there are reservoirs of water that are behind those pipes. There are reservoirs of water that is waiting, shefa and bracha, to come down to us. He wants to give it to us if we behave in kind to others.
Can I ask a question about the story?
Please.
If I would have been nice enough to do what you did, let's say, I think I would have told my friend that I remember giving you the money, but maybe I'm mistaken or I want to be extra kind to you, so I'm gonna do this as a chesed. Like, you were so nice that you didn't even go there. Like, you just.
Right, because is it really
such a high level the way you did it?
is it really a chesed if we say I want to do a chesed for you? I'm not so sure. I don't think so. I want to give you an example that just happened to me, okay? My daughter's complaining about back pain. So I mentioned to whatever that I think I need a new bed. Like, I just really need a new bed. So this person that was there said, oh my gosh, let's call her Debbie. Debbie says, oh my gosh, we're getting a new bed and I'm getting rid of my old one and it's in perfect condition. It's just that my daughter wanted an upgraded bed. You could totally have our bed. I'm like, really? Like, it's good slats and whatever? She's like, yeah. I'm like, that would be amazing. Thank you so much. Okay. I didn't hear from her. She didn't hear from me. Whatever. We're busy. I'm not thinking about beds all day. One day I come home and on my front porch, in a very, very neat bundle, are long slats of wood tied with string. And I'm like, what is that? Is that the bed? I'm gonna kill her. Is that the bed? What exactly am I supposed to do? Oh, it's raining. Oh, perfect. So now raining on the slats of wood, which now start to bubble, right? Because it's wood, so it's starting to bubble. I was so upset about it. And not only, what am I doing with these who's bringing it into the house for me? Who is putting together this bed for me? I ended up having to hire my cleaning lady's husband to come and take it off, and the garbage didn't even want it. It was such a hassle for me. And there's chesed. That's not the chesed that we're talking about. We're talking about when you do something that is so out of the ordinary. I'm not trying to take credit that it was so out of the ordinary, but it was so out of the ordinary because I had so much compassion on this person, and that's where it came from.
Did you ever find the original envelope?
I don't know. I never asked her. I have no idea. The story was Akasha of Amasa. I don't know. This is the story.
You didn't even judge her at all.
When it comes from a place of compassion, her sending me the bed was not from a place of compassion. She wanted it out of her house, put it into a bundle and throw it on her front porch. That was not chesed. This is chesed, not I want to do a chesed for you. Mm-hmm. What is, right? I have a friend, Nissi, who, I've spoken about this, like times when I was really struggling and really, really going through difficult challenges. She would send me a text on Thursday. I have hot, fresh challah coming out of the oven. Would you like for Shabbos? How many times do we get challah delivered to us after candlelighting? Right? They come in. I have a challah for you. Thanks.
It's too late.
Okay. I don't have freezer room. What am I doing with this challah? There's chesed and there's chesed.
Right.
Right? It's like, I want to give you another example that to me is just like huge. Okay. So, with no husband and a large family and a daughter with a disability, I am in over my head. Okay? It's not just about me. I think that everybody will be able to relate to what I'm saying. I would say 90% of my day is about making phone calls. Not only the regular phone calls, insurance, teachers, moras, rebbes, menals, camp, did you get all those millions of phone calls. There's other things. Things like, I don't know, Erev Yantiv, wait, I need a seat. Who takes care of seats in a shul, right? So there's that phone call too. Who takes care of seats in the shul? Oh, okay. All right, so who would I speak to in my shul? Oh, so that's another phone call. Hi, what's the name of the Gaba in my shul? That's another phone call. Is this the Gaba? Because I need a seat, right? It's like, wait, what's that? There's something on my car. What's it saying? I don't even know what it says on my car. There's something on my car, but I don't even know what it's saying. I have to go to a mechanic. Which mechanic do I go to? Another phone call. Which mechanic is somebody that I could rely on? Right? You all understand what I'm talking about. Not only me. It's phone call after phone call after phone call. It's things that other people take for granted. I don't take for granted because all day and all night I'm busy on the phone. I have one person in my life that when I call her, I don't know, like none of the outlets in my kitchen are working. I just had this, right? I don't know, all the outlets in my kitchen stopped working. What does this even mean? So she says, I think you need to call an electrician. I'm like, I don't know an electrician. She's like, let me make some phone calls for you. That is coming from a place of compassion. Let me make some phone calls for you. Okay, I have 3 phone numbers. This one charges this one charges that, and this one charges.
That's nice.
You know what a chesed that is?
I
This
do.
is the kind of compassion that we're talking about right here. People that go above and beyond. I have a friend, Malki Organbraun. She has the bridal place. I remember during the summer, I needed a ride home from my daughter. She had to get to an appointment. And nobody in my colony was going home. It was midweek. She needed to go home early. There was nobody that was going home early. So I started reaching out to other colonies. Malki's colony is not far from mine. I called her. I said, Malki, anybody in your colony going home? So she says, let me put it on the group chat. She puts it on the group chat and she comes back. She's like, no, I'm so sorry, but nobody's going home. I get a phone call a few minutes later. Do you mind if I put it on other group chats or did you just specifically want it for mine? Puts it on and didn't stop until she found me a ride. You know how many phone calls that was? That is the chesed that we are talking about right over here. Not, what? Let me hold the door open for you so that you could, that's chesed. I'm not saying it's not. Smile, yes, that is chesed. Above and beyond, that is what Hashem is saying. The people that do the chesed, those are the ones that have a secret access to Hashem's channel. Hashem loves them. It comes from a place of real compassion. They don't just do, they do. They want to do, right?
So I could identify with that. I could never do your example that you did. Give another 3,000.
That's fine.
But
No, and today I wouldn't be able to either, by the way. That was back then. No, I kid you not, right? There's a time and a place for everything.
But I find myself that my personality is so overdoing that people have to tell me to stop. Like, stay in your lane and let people do the work. And I see that.
And then
it
that
gets
could
too
be your
much.
avodah. Yeah, that
Right.
could be your avodah too.
But I feel it's naturally, like I do the chesed the full way. Like I'll give,
Good for you. Good
but
for
then
you.
it does affect me and my, I have to find the balance.
There is a balance, but
Yeah.
by the way, somebody asked, I think it was Reb Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, like, I need brachas in my life. Who should I go to? And he said, go to people that do chesed, because they have a one-way ticket to asking Hashem. They have a certain connection. So, ladies, there will be a line for no, but right.
My husband, not me.
Okay, no, there are people like that, and that's who the Ramak is talking about. There's somebody in the community, her name is Tehila. She runs a Hug Gemach. Does anybody know her? Has anybody ever been to her Gemach? Hug, H-U-G. Okay. So she always says, I always want to give, and I don't have, I can't pay. So she says, I wanted to do something so badly. So she did her research, and she read up on it, how hugs, when you feel enveloped, and you feel the heartbeat, and you feel the love, and you feel how it really helps people just like to calm down, whatever. So I said, really, that is so fascinating. Like, tell me more about it. How does it work? What do you need? So she says, well, you want to try it? I'm like, sure. She's like, okay, I'm just giving you a heads up that the only way it really works is if you sit in the hug for at least 45 seconds. I'm like, okay, I could do 45 seconds. What's 45 seconds? Okay. So she says, get ready. I said, okay, do I need to keep my eyes open, closed, breathe? She's like, just be the way you are. So she envelops me in this big hug, right? And I'm like, oh, this is so nice. Yeah, I'm done. But no, we're still hugging. I'm like, awkward. This is so, oh, hi. Right? We're still hugging. And I'm like, I'm starting to feel a little claustrophobic over here, right? All this is going on in my head. I'm not saying this out loud. And she like hugs a little bit tighter. And I'm like, whoa, this is like so. And then I'm like, Shavi, stop for a moment and take it all in. I'm like, okay, stop letting my thoughts just like run and just be. And you know what? Something like magical happened. Like, you just like relax and release into that hug. And whenever I see her, she's like, Hugemach? I'm like, yes, yes. We moved to a corner over there behind okay, yeah, right? There are people that are so extraordinary. She said that she really put thought and time into it. What do I have to offer? What can I give? She did research on it because she so badly wanted to be there for people. How extraordinary is that? Okay. So one year, I'm in Florida, and I was with my husband at the time, and we were like pretty far out, like we were not in a familiar area, and he said, oh good, there's a shul here. I'm gonna stop in, let me see if I can catch mincha before we end up getting lost and we won't be able to catch mincha. I'm like, yeah, sure. I mean, it's Florida, like who's rushing? Nobody's rushing, right? So he goes into the shul, and I'm sitting outside, and there are benches, and the weather is gorgeous, and I'm sitting out, and he comes out, and he says, just heads up, you know, I think we still need like another 2 or 3 people for Minyan, so it might be a while. I'm like, I'm good, take your time. And I'm just like looking around, and I'm thinking of all those like poor people in New York where it is frigid, freezing, and I'm like, I feel so bad for them. Oh my gosh, this is so nice, like in this beautiful weather. And then a car pulls up, and a couple gets out, and he goes into shul, and she sits not on my bench, but on the bench next to me. And her husband comes out and says, okay, it looks like it's gonna be some time, you know, we still don't have minyan. And she's like, okay. So we're both sitting there quietly, but those who know me, I don't stay quiet for too long. So she's a complete, you know, she's a random stranger. I've never seen her, I've never met her. And I'm like, hi, isn't it just great to be here? So she says, no. I'm like, oh, okay. This is so weird. That was not what I was expecting. So I'm like, you know, I don't know where you're from, but I'm from New York, and it's just like so cold in New York, and it's just so beautiful here. And she's like, so totally did not want to come. My husband forced me. I'm like, jede Yiddish kind gesucht. Like, wow, okay.
Master, like what age was she? Your age?
She was about my age, yeah.
She's
No,
your age?
yeah, she was my age. She's wearing a wig. She's from. So I was like, okay. Like, so weird, right? So then she starts to talk because, I don't know, we're in a strange place and we're strangers and maybe we're never gonna meet again. So like, she figures she could just like spill out her guts, which is fine for me, except that she didn't know that I would be here repeating the story. So, sorry. So she says, actually since the summer, I haven't left the house. I've been in a very, very dark place. I don't even think I got dressed these whole 6 months. And my husband put his foot down and he didn't give me a choice and he got a babysitter for the kids and he packed everything up. And I came here kicking and screaming.
Wow.
So I said, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to hear that. And she starts to cry. So now it's like really weird. Like I don't even have tissues on me, you know. So she says, I'm an only daughter. I have brothers. I don't have any sisters. And my parents are elderly. And I always felt very alone in this world. And a few years ago, I met somebody that I just really, really clicked with. And we became best friends. And she was like my sister, and we would talk every single day. And I had nobody but her. And then what does Hashem do? He takes her, and I'm left alone again. And she's crying. So I actually get up like from my bench and I sit next to her and I said, I'm really sorry. I didn't give her a hug. I don't know if she wants a hug. Not everybody's so, you know, whatever. But I just wanted her to feel that closeness. And I said, I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry. I have a lot of sisters, so I don't know what that's like. But I know what it's like to lose a really close friend, because I too just lost a really close friend. And it's been really, really hard. And she's like sobbing, and she like needs a tissue, you know? But we don't have tissues. So she's like, it's not fair. It's not fair. Like, why do these things have to happen to me? How could Hashem take her? 6 children she had, 6 little children. She had a little baby, and then just like that, she's gone, and Hashem takes her. I said, did you say 6 children? So she says, yeah, 6 little children. And me and her look at each other, and at the same exact moment, we both say,
Oh, it's the same friend.
Risey? She looks at me and she says, are you shaving? And I look at her and I said, are you Miriam? Remember what I told you about the shaitels? Risey was a customer of mine. She came in, she loved the wigs, and she loved the chesed of it, Because Risey was a chesed person. And she said, Shavy, I live in Williamsburg. Would it be okay if I took some wigs back so that people from Williamsburg shouldn't have to come into Borough Park and they could just come to my house? And I said, yeah. And thus began a magnificent friendship based on chesed. Risey was so easy to click with because she was pure goodness. She was a pure neshama. I remember how she called me once, not knowing that she was in the beginning of her illness, that she was feeling so sick. And she had a neighbor, she had a toddler at the time, and her neighbor who lived in the same building also had a toddler, and Risey would always very happily take that toddler off together with her toddler. And she called me and she said, Shavy, you're such a practical person. Like, I don't know, I don't have any energy. I'm feeling so not myself lately. But I don't want to tell her no. So like, what can I do, practically speaking, to help the toddler? And this is what we did. We spent time on the phone coming up with practical examples. So she had like snack prepared right away, and she had like toys prepared right away so that she could just collapse onto the couch right away when this toddler came. Risey was like compassion and goodness. I remember that right before she passed away, I had a baby. So this is going back 8 years ago. My son is 8. And they asked me if I would come. They were doing a challah bake on Risey's behalf, for refuah shlema for her. And I said, yeah, I was a kippaturin. I wasn't well. I had preeclampsia after I had my baby. I was very sick. I was not well. But for Risey, who was like, I needed to do this for her. So I came in, right, expecting 40 people for a challah bake. And I'll never forget this, that when I pulled up, there were people, to me, it looked like there were hundreds of people. I don't know how many people. They didn't fit into this house, and it was a huge house that they did it in. People lining, all in the kitchen. They left the doors open and all the windows open because there were people all over the place. And every person said the same thing. You know Risey? You know Risey? It didn't make sense. Risey wasn't this loud person, but she was glitter. You know when you have glitter, whatever you touch, it leaves a mark, right? She was glitter. She left a mark wherever she went. And right there on that bench, her friend who lived, I don't even know where she lives, but Risey had mentioned her friend. She would say, oh, I need to hang up because she's on the phone, or that's how we both knew each other. A person who lives her entire life of compassion and chesed could not stand to see her best friend in so much pain. And she helped to orchestrate, and Hashem on her behalf helped to orchestrate that we should meet and we should sit together and bring each other comfort. And we kept up, and we would talk, and I became her new friend.
Wow. That's nice.
I'm not her friend today anymore, only because we've both gotten so busy, and she ended up starting a business, but she doesn't need me anymore today.
She's doing better.
She's doing better. This was 8 years ago. She needed me then, and that's when the story happened. Today, she no longer needs me. When we go out of our way, and there's so many opportunities to go out of our way, I don't have to tell you. Hashem says, I'm giving you a special Mida Yud Aleph. Those who go out of their way for me, you have a direct link. A direct link. I will act in kind to you. And not only will I act in kind to you, but the Ramak says this is what he wants. People that do chesed, we should be extra kind to them because they're such extraordinary people. So my dearest friends, take your license plate home and give it some thought. Are we even known for a certain character trait? Or are we like a hodgepodge, which is fine too? Are we known to be skinny? Oh, that's the first thing they would write. I'm thinking of one friend who answered that. Really? Is that the number one thing you want to be known for? And if we ask the people around us and we don't get the answers we like, can we think into it and see what needs to be done in our lives? And I don't want us to forget, every person here is a hero. we do the best we can within the circumstances that we are in with the tools that we have. We all do that. And Hashem is saying, I see that, and I'm ready. The channels are ready to be opened. Thank you, my dear friends. And I will see you next week.
Thank you.